What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with Dark Hay Outpost, and since so little is actually being made from Hollywood right now, weirdos have to go back and look at movies that were made 14 years ago based on events that happened 2,500 years ago to try to cancel it, because that's what they do. Take a look at this. This tweet got some attention from CBR. Zack Snyder's 300 remains intensely problematic. And this article is an absolute trash fire. It is an absolute joke. And I think that sometimes places like these intentionally publish things like this, but we are not going to give them the click that they want. What are we going to do? We are going to use the Wayback Machine Internet Archive to take a look at this so that we are not giving CBR ad revenue. Obviously, 300, made by Zack Snyder, the man, the myth, the legend himself. 300 was a absolutely stunning visual storytelling film. It was based off a comic book, and Zack Snyder did everything he could to make it accurate to nearly every page of that comic book, and it was really well received. There are people that watch it over and over and over again because there's just something about it that's very unique and really got us introduced in a lot of ways to Zack Snyder's style. But let's take a look at this article. While 300 is getting a 4K release, which I think this article has just convinced me to buy it 4K, even though I wasn't sure if I was going to, it is important to look back at the film and comment critically for the homophobic, racist, and ableist portrayals. These insane SJWs will take a look at anything they can to try to pick it apart. Again, this is a movie based on a comic book that was loosely based on events from 2,500 years ago. When you look at some of the complaints, it's just ridiculous. Zack Snyder's 2006 period epic 300, based on the comic series by Frank Miller and Lynn Varley, is receiving a 4K release, which will no doubt reignite the controversies surrounding the film. There's no controversy. You fucking weirdos are the ones that are trying to make a controversy out of nothing. Snyder employed green screen and staging to directly mirror the panels of the comic, resulting in stunning visuals, which are the primary focus for the positive reviews at the time. However, despite 300's technical and commercial success, reviews were overall mixed, with some critics singling out the film's racist, homophobic, and ableist elements. God, now let me ask you, just for a second, do you think that this article is going to go into complaining why all the Spartans are the same color? Why there's no black Spartans? Do you think that that might happen? I think it might happen personally, because that's how these people think. They don't understand. 2,500 years ago, in fucking ancient Greece, in Sparta, I can't believe they didn't put any black Spartans in there. The film and the comic are fictionalized accounts of the legendary Battle of Thermopylae, which took place 480 BC, again, 2,500 years ago. And of course, we know they were led by King Leonidas, holding off the Persian army. The shocking racism and pro-imperialism of 300 does not exist in a bubble, but it's irresponsible that the film refused to question or investigate the source material's problematic aspects in favor of focusing on capturing the comic's aesthetics. For instance, Snyder's Spartans are a society of white, able-bodied people fueled by aggression and violence, and they are praised as the unquestionable heroes. Yes, they are white. Yes, they are soldiers that had high standards, so they were able-bodied. Heaven forbid. The worst people in the world, white, able-bodied people, fueled by aggression and violence. Now, if you remember, were the Spartans going there? Were the Spartans going there just to kill people? Is that the reason they wanted to go? We just want to go. We're going to drop everything we're doing. We want to go kill Persians. Or was it the fact that they wanted to defend Greece? They wanted to defend their homeland from an invasion from the Persians. That they left to defend everything that they know and that they love, because that was their responsibility. That was their job. They had to go do that. Which was it? Remind me again. On the other hand, the villains are portrayed as a gender-fluid society that was visibly not white and the incarnation of evil and treachery. Yes, Persians came from a different part of the world. I don't think that all the countries were as diverse as they are right now. It was not some melting pot. People were very much separated until we had invasions like this that did introduce different races of people to societies. And the reason they're portrayed as evil is because they are invading Greece and they are the villains in it. This is from the perspective of the Spartans. Those are who the heroes are in this comic book and in this movie. If you wanted to go ahead and make a different account of 300 that was from the Persians' point of view, I bet that they would be the heroes and the Spartans would be portrayed as the villains, which you would like. You would like that a lot because it would portray white men, white able-bodied men, as the villains, which is how you fucking see society. 300's depiction of good versus evil is overtly racist by having white be inherently good while people of color are inherently bad. So if it's the other way around, it would be fine with you. Isn't that correct? What's your fucking name? Margaret Lockyer. Margaret Lockyer, who has a degree. She has a degree in English and history with honors in apocalyptic literature. And you write for CBR. How sad for you. How sad for you. Where were we? The depiction of good versus evil overtly racist by having white be inherently good while people of color are inherently bad. It also reinforces the growing untrue notion that foreigners entering a white country are to be feared and attacked. The Persians were trying to take over the country. They were trying to take over Greece. They were trying to take over the world. This actually happened. This isn't fake news. This is real. Not necessarily exactly how it happened. You're trying to say that we can't talk about things that happened 2,500 years ago because of how people might view people of color today? Are you serious? You think people are that fucking stupid? Not everyone's as dumb as you are. Harmful representation like that can support the false notion that it's right to fear immigrants, especially immigrants of color. The film's harmful depiction of race promotes the idea that racist ideologies like this are a way to protect a morally superior way of life. Further, the Spartans, the heroes of the narrative, are from a military-based society that promotes violence, aggression, and fascism. However, the film frames this society as a free democracy. Oh, that's not quite true. That's not quite true. They had a king, but they also had delegates who discussed things. But ultimately, the king was responsible, right? It was kind of interesting in a way. I don't know if it was free democracy, but I definitely don't think that it was fascism. In combination with the above noted anti-Middle East sentiment, this feeds to a warped notion of patriotism that prides itself in xenophobia and racism. There are so few people that view this movie like this. You have to understand this. You have to know, Margaret Lockyer, that the amount of people that look at this movie the way you see it is fucking infinitesimal. This is insane. The film is irresponsible in its casual expression of fighting for so-called freedom when the government itself is far from a free democracy. He claims the Spartans are free men who are fighting against a tyrant, but the Spartans are the ones systematically murdering their own children for nonconformity. So this gets into the ableist. Yes, Spartans killed people that weren't up to par. Now, I don't think that that's a good thing. I don't think that's something that we should be striving for in society, but it's something that happened, right? It's part of the history. It is what it is. You are someone who is a major in English and history, apparently, but you don't want us to talk about history. As mentioned earlier, the murder of children who do not conform to societal norms is one of the many issues with the Spartans, pushing forward an ableist ideology. It glorifies the idea that individual disability and those who are not fit desired physical appearance have no right to live or be part of this society. Well, interestingly enough, the guy couldn't hold his shield up, right? They gave a reason. It wasn't just because he looked weird. He couldn't hold a shield up. He couldn't be part of the Spartan shield wall, right? People made fun of him a little bit. King Leonidas even said, hey, there is something you can do. But what did he want? He wanted to be a Spartan. He wanted to be exactly like them, but he couldn't, right? So he went and betrayed them. That's what this piece of shit did. Now, I don't think that they frame killing children as heroic or something we should strive for. It simply is part of their culture, was part of their culture. But evidently that's too triggering to you. Along with the demonizing those with disabled and different bodies, the film is homophobic. And some of the most homophobic images are intentionally incorporated by Snyder, who seems unaware of how problematic this depiction of gender and sexuality is. Fucking problematic. One of the biggest instances of this dated homophobic representation is when Xerxes offers Leonidas peace. You misspelled Leonidas, you dumb idiot. I'm sorry, you no longer have a place in this society. Off the cliff for you. Peace in exchange for submission, which Snyder put in the film because, to use his words, what's more scary to a 20-year-old boy than a giant god king who wants to have his way with you? Oh, heaven forbid. Cancel Zack Snyder, cancel 300 because he said something that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, heaven forbid. These people like Margaret Lockyer, they want their entire way of thinking to be dominated across everywhere else. If they think it, that's how it should be. You need to change things. You need to view things in a certain light because I think it. For decades, this type of representation justified the false belief that straight men should fear gay men because they would inherently pursue them sexually. Films like 300 perpetuate the false offensive notion that it's okay to be violent towards women of the LGBT community because they are pariahs. No, it's okay to defend your country against invading armies. That is what the film is saying. 300 may have been a box office hit that catapulted the careers of Snyder and Gerard Butler, but it is problematic. No, it's not. Looking back at the 14 years, the racism, fascism, ableism, and homophobia of the comic and film are as glaring and intensely problematic as ever. No, they're not. I am going to go out. I don't even have a 4K player. I don't even have a 4K player, but you know what? I'm going to go buy the 4K version of 300 just to say fuck you to people like this that write for CBR. Again, I will put the archived link in the description so you don't have to give CBR an actual click. You don't have to view their ads. You don't have to give them money for what they're putting out and what they're trying to give people. This is insane. All reasonable people know that this is insane, but that is what people like this want Hollywood to be like. They don't want to talk about actual history. They want to erase it if it's problematic. We can only talk about things a certain way. And when you want to make something based on history, you need to change history to fit current day norms. How insane. I'm going to go watch 300 right now, I think, actually. Fuck Margaret Lockyer. Fuck CBR. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell for notifications. Share this video out there. And I'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching, everyone, and a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.